Hello and welcome. You're watching News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV with your host Rajat. Now these are the top stories of the day. Former President Pranab Mukherjee passed away on Monday at the age of 84. He had been in coma after brain surgery earlier this month and had also tested positive for novel coronavirus.
His son Abhijit Mukherjee, who broke the news, tweeted, "With a heavy heart, this is to inform you that my father, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, has just passed away in spite of the best efforts of doctors of RR Hospital and prayers, duas and prathanas from people throughout India. Thank all of you." Earlier, the Army's Research and Referral Hospital in Delhi said that Mukherjee had gone into septic shock due to his lung infection. Pranab Mukherjee was hospitalized on August 10th. He had surgery the same day for the removal of a clot in his brain. Doctors said that he developed a lung infection and a renal dysfunction over the past few days. Last Wednesday, the hospital said Mukherjee's renal parameters are slightly deranged. Pranab Mukherjee was the 13th President of India from 2012 to 2017. He was awarded the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian award, last August. The former president's daughter and Congress leader Sharmishta Mukherjee, in a tweet, remembered this time last year when he had received the Bharat Ratna, the highest civilian honor.
President, Vice President, Prime Minister and political leaders cutting across party lines have condoled the passing of former President whose political career spanned over 5 decades. Taking to Twitter, President Ram Nath Kovind said, "Mukherjee's passing is the end of an era and the nation mourns losing one of its worthiest sons." He said the former president combined tradition and modernity and remained rooted to the ground, irrespective of the exalted offices he held. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu condoled the passing of Pranab Mukherjee. He said, "Mukherjee rose from humble beginnings to occupy the country's highest constitutional position through hard work, discipline and dedication, and the country has lost an elder statesman in his death." Recalling time spent with the former president, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he'll always cherish his interactions and counsel on key issues. The Prime Minister added that towering statesman who was admired across the political spectrum has left an indelible mark on the development trajectory of our nation. Home Minister Amit Shah said Pranab Da's life will always be cherished for his impeccable service and indelible contribution to our motherland. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh called Mukherjee's demise a personal loss. He said the departed leader had tremendous knowledge of India's history, diplomacy, public policy and also defence. Expressing condolences, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi said he joins the country in paying homage to him and extended condolences to the bereaved family and friends. Congress leader Shashi Tharoor also expressed grief over the death of former president. Pranab Mukherjee's daughter Sharmishta Mukherjee, who is also a Congress leader, said her father led a full, meaningful life in service of the nation and the people, and she is blessed to have been born as his daughter.
भारत रत्न पूर्व राष्ट्रपति श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी के निधन पर मैं शोक व्यक्त करता हूं। 5 दशक से भी अधिक अपने सार्वजनिक जीवनों में उन्होंने देश की अनुकरणीय सेवा की है। संसदीय व प्रशासनिक क्षेत्र में उनका अनुभव बेजोड़ था, जो उनकी कार्यशैली में स्पष्ट परिलक्षित होता था। व्यक्तिगत संबंधों में राजनीतिक जुड़ाव को उन्होंने कभी बाधा नहीं बनने दिया। व्यक्तित्व की इसी खूबी के कारण वे जटिल विषयों में भी राजनीतिक सहमति बनाने में सफल हो पाते थे। उनका कुशल मार्गदर्शन देश में अनेक महत्वपूर्ण नीतियों का निर्धारण हुआ, जो आज भी पथ प्रदर्शित करती है।
वो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर के तौर पर, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर के तौर पर, एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर के तौर पर, लीडर ऑफ हाउस के तौर पर जो उन्होंने काम किया है उसे लोग हमेशा याद रखेंगे। वो बहुत अच्छे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर थे, बहुत अच्छे राइटर थे। सदन के अंदर, चाहे वो लोकसभा में रहे या राज्यसभा में रहे, कांग्रेस पार्टी के सभी एमपीज उनका आदर तो करते थे, लेकिन दूसरी पार्टियों के लीडर्स भी उनका बहुत आदर करते थे।
देश ने एक महान सपूत खोया है। भारत रत्न प्रणब मुखर्जी के निधन से पूरा देश दुखी है। जिस तरह से अपने जीवन में उन्होंने अपनी भूमिका को सार्थक किया और एक बेहतर इंसान साबित किया, मुझे लगता है वो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है। वो एक शिक्षक थे और सही रूप में पार्लियामेंट का उनका भाषण हो या कोई व्यक्तिगत मुलाकात हो, वो हमेशा एक अच्छे शिक्षक के भूमिका में ही पेश आए।
मेरे बहुत पुराने संबंध थे, निजी संबंध थे। जब मैं एक नौजवान था और मैं फुल टाइम राजनीति में भी नहीं आया था, उस समय ये मेरे गाइड रहे, मुझे मार्गदर्शन देते रहे, सलाह देते रहे और उन्होंने मुझे प्रेरित किया। मुझे याद है 79 में मेरे से कई दफ़ा बैठ के रात को चर्चा करते थे कि कमल तुम जाके चुनाव जरूर लड़ो।
मैं समझता हूँ कि उनका योगदान देश के प्रति, कांग्रेस पार्टी में उनका योगदान इतिहास के सुनहरे अक्षरों में लिखा जाएगा।
इस देश के लोकतंत्र में स्वाभाविक रूप से उनके व्यक्तिमत्व में एक सर्वसमावेशकता थी और इसीलिए पूरे देश में उनको एक स्वीकार्यता भी थी। प्रणब मुखर्जी हमारे लिए गाइड एंड फिलोसोफर थे।
India's 13th President Pranab Mukherjee was a towering figure in the country's political sphere. His passing away marks the end of an era. Bharat Ratna Pranab Mukherjee, whose political journey started in West Bengal, served India in many capacities. Mukherjee was first made minister in Indira Gandhi's cabinet in 1973. Ever since then, he spearheaded critical decisions and legislations, guiding politicians and discourse across the spectrum. Here's a look at his journey.
Eminent statesman, distinguished parliamentarian, remarkable orator and a crisis manager with friends cutting across party lines. That was Pranab Mukherjee. The former president wore many hats in his public life that spanned over 5 decades. He had been a 7-time MP, minister under 3 prime ministers and finally assumed office as the 13th President of India on 25th of July 2012. A man of humble origins, Mukherjee was born in a small village of Mirati in Birbhum district of West Bengal to freedom fighters Kamara Kinkar Mukherjee and Rajya Lakshmi on 11th of December 1935. Inspired by his parents, Mukherjee plunged into politics in 1969 after his election to the Rajya Sabha. His political career graph saw a rapid rise under the mentorship of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Pranab Mukherjee became Finance Minister for the first time in 1982 and Leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha from 1980 to 1985. He was appointed Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission from 1991 to 1996. From 1993 to 1995, Pranab Mukherjee served as the Minister for Commerce. He was given charge of the External Affairs Ministry from 1995 to 1996, Defence Minister from 2004 to 2006, and once again the External Affairs Minister from 2006 to 2009. Pranab Mukherjee held the finance portfolio once again from 2009 to 2012. During his illustrious political career, he was elected to the Rajya Sabha 5 times, from 1969 and twice to the Lok Sabha. He was elected to the Lok Sabha for the first time in 2004 when Congress-led United Progressive Alliance came into power. For over 23 years, Pranab Mukherjee was a member of the Congress Working Committee. He chaired over 95 group of ministers. From 2004 to 2012, he was also the leader of the Lok Sabha till he resigned to contest election to the office of the President. In the 70s and 80s, Pranab Mukherjee was instrumental in setting up the regional rural banks and the Exim Bank of India as well as National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. In 1997, when Sonia Gandhi finally became a member and a year later President of the Congress Party, Mukherjee played a big role in mentoring her. During 2004 to 2012, Mukherjee was instrumental in spearheading critical decisions of the government on a range of issues such as administrative reforms, right to information, right to employment, food security, energy security, information technology and telecommunication, setting up of UIDAI, metro rail, etc. He is also credited with taking bold decisions after the global economic crisis of 2008, which helped shield the Indian economy. The former president was felicitated with many awards and honors, including India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, in 2019. He was earlier awarded Padma Vibhushan in 2008, the Best Parliamentarian Award in 1997, among others. With his political prowess and experience in governance, Pranab Mukherjee was acclaimed for his role as consensus builder among diverse political parties. He was also known for his remarkable knowledge, international relations, financial affairs and parliamentary process. He also authored several books on the Indian economy and on nation building. Pranab Mukherjee was married to late Subhra Mukherjee, an accomplished singer of Rabindra Sangeet and an artist. He is survived by 2 sons and a daughter. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, a look now at COVID-19 situation in India, where a record number of over 78,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported for yet another day. India is only behind US and Brazil in both deaths and infections, but at 1.78%, the case fatality rate continues to decline. The recovery rate is over 76%.
A record surge of 78,512 fresh coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours has taken India's COVID-19 infections to over 36 lakh. 971 new deaths reported on Monday morning has taken the overall death count to 64,469. Over 27 lakh patients have recovered from the infection, giving a recovery rate to 76.62%. There are over 7.81 lakh active coronavirus cases in the country currently that account for 21.59% of the total case load. The case fatality rate in India is 1.78%. Over 4.23 lakh samples have been tested so far, including 8.46 lakh samples on Monday. 5 states with the biggest 24-hour jump in total cases are Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu also reported the highest deaths in this period. India is reporting more than 75,000 cases for the last 5 days, more than any other country has ever done. This is attributed to increased testing and reopening of economic activities. At 8.1%, India's positivity rate is higher than WHO approved 5%, but despite aggressive testing, the overall test positivity rate is consistent. However, 4 of the 5 states with maximum cases are recording an increasing trend in their positivity rates. With a recovery of 60,868 cases in the last 24 hours, India's recovery rate amongst the COVID-19 patients is showing a continuous progress. Recoveries in India today exceed active cases by 3.55 times. India registered 4.36 lakh recoveries during the last week of August and over 16 lakh people recovered this month. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Unlock 4.0 will come into force from Tuesday. The new guidelines will remain in force till September 30th. However, in containment zones, only essential activities will be allowed. Here is a look at what will open and what will remain closed starting September 1st. Unlock 4.0 will come into force from Tuesday. The new guidelines will remain in force till September 30. However, in the containment zone, only essential activities will be allowed. Here is a look at what will open and what will remain closed starting September 1st. Metro services in Delhi NCR and across nation will begin in a graded manner from September 7th. Social, academic, sports, entertainment, cultural, religious, political functions will be permitted with a ceiling of 100 persons from September 21st. Open-air theatres can open from 3rd week of September. Up to 50% of teaching and non-teaching staff will be allowed in schools. Students of class 9 to 12 can visit their schools on voluntary basis for taking guidance from their teachers, and no restriction on interstate and intra-state movement of persons and goods. We'll take a look at what will not open in this phase. International air travels is banned till September 30. All educational institutions will continue to remain closed for regular class activity in this phase. Cinema halls, swimming pools and entertainment parks will remain closed. The global coronavirus cases crossed 25.4 million and the death toll exceeded 8.5 lakh on Monday.
The United States has over 6.1 million cases, while total fatalities have reached 1.87 lakh. California is the worst affected state with nearly 7 lakh cases, followed by Florida and Texas. Despite a spike in clusters after colleges reopened, the government is firm on conducting in-person classes. At least 36 US states reported nearly 9,000 infections. With more than 3.8 million infections so far, Brazil has the world's second most caseload. Over 1.2 lakh people have died. Mexico registered 4,129 new COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours, bringing the nationwide count to nearly 6 lakh. 2,603 new positive cases in Peru brought its tally to over 6.4 lakh. Over 4 lakh COVID-19 cases and 8,457 deaths have been reported in Argentina so far. Infections have also been rising in South Korea in the recent weeks. With 248 new cases on Sunday, its tally is nearing 20,000. On Monday, face masks became mandatory on public transport in New Zealand, even as social restrictions were eased in Auckland. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern was confident that the new measures will help the country overcome the latest outbreak.
We are still a team here, and I think everyone recognises that Auckland has been going through a particularly tough period. What I'd like to ask again is what we've asked all the way through, a bit of kindness, a bit of smiling with the eyes behind the mask. Remember that Aucklanders have been bearing the brunt of this latest wave, and just to treat them with the thanks and the care that they do deserve while we all continue to get through this together.
Australia continued to see a decline in new cases, reporting 76 new coronavirus cases on Monday. It now has nearly 26,000 infections and 652 fatalities from the virus. With the temperature checks and other safety precautions, schools reopened in China. Over 200 million students returned to schools in all provinces and autonomous regions except Xinjiang. Schools are also reopening in several European countries, including Spain, France and Britain, despite a surge in fresh cases. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
India's first indigenous COVID-19 vaccine, Covaxin, has been found to be safe with no side effect in phase 1 trials.
The potential vaccine is now progressing well in phase 2 human trials. The vaccine is jointly developed by Bharat Biotech, Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Virology. Zydus Cadila is also conducting phase 2 clinical trials of its potential vaccine since 6th of August. Early trial results have shown that the potential COVID-19 vaccine is well tolerated in all volunteers. Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine is also at advanced stage trials in India. 1,600 people are taking part in trials across 17 selected sites. Doctors said all vaccinated volunteers are doing well. Over 150 potential vaccines are being developed globally, with 30 in human trials.
Well, India's gross domestic product fell by 23.9% in April-June period quarter amid the coronavirus pandemic-induced lockdown that hit business and livelihoods across the country.
The economy was expected to contract mainly because this quarter had seen more of the 68-day nationwide lockdown restrictions that were enforced by the government from March 25th to contain the spread of the coronavirus disease outbreak. Economies the world over are experiencing contraction due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The International Monetary Fund has estimated a global contraction of 4.9% in 2020.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has called for providing special care and support to elderly during the ongoing pandemic.
In a Facebook post on issues pertaining to the elderly population in India, the Vice President highlighted the higher degree of risk faced by the elderly in health emergencies. He advised youngsters and other family members to take extra precautions if there are elderly people at their homes. He also emphasized the need to reorient the health system to address the specific needs of the geriatric population. The Vice President also called for providing the elderly an easy and barrier-free access to public places and services. Referring to a recent report on the status of elderly population in India, Naidu expressed satisfaction over the increase in life expectancy. However, he also expressed anguish over instances of neglect, abandonment and abuse of the elderly. Recounting the Puranic tale of Lord Ganesha who circled around his parents, equating them with the whole world, the Vice President urged the youth to respect their parents and the elderly.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 68th edition of his monthly radio address, Man Ki Baat, on Sunday focused on making India a self-reliant nation. He touched upon India's potential in various areas while highlighting the need to be vocal for local. More details in this story.
In the context of making an Atmanirbhar Bharat for India's all-round growth and development, the Prime Minister highlighted the ability of India to become a toy hub, while stating that India should be making toys for the world. Referring to the importance of nutrition, Prime Minister Modi announced that September will be observed as Nutrition Month. He also underscored the need to increase awareness regarding nutrition. PM Modi said a Bharatiya Poshan Krishi Kosh was being developed to provide information about food produced in every district of the country. The Prime Minister said this time of the year is usually devoted to celebrating festivals. He said it is heartening to see people celebrating festivals and observing discipline due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The Standing Committee of Parliament on Labour held its 32nd meeting on Monday.
The meeting focused on social security and welfare measures for interstate migrants and unorganized and informal sector workers. 12 MPs were present, including representatives of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry. Department of Consumer Affairs Secretary Leena Nandan gave a presentation. Earlier, the committee, headed by BJD MP Bhartrihari Mahatab, held meetings with the Ministry of Skill Development, Rural Development Ministry and Housing and Urban Affairs Ministry on the issue.
Lawyer activist Prashant Bhushan, held guilty of contempt, has been fined ₹1 by the Supreme Court.
Following the verdict, Bhushan said that his lawyer contributed ₹1 immediately after the contempt judgment. Failure to pay fine by 15th of September could have put Bhushan in jail for 3 months and a ban from practicing for 3 years. The Supreme Court bench, headed by Justice Arun Mishra and also comprising Justices B.R. Gavai and Krishna Murari, while handing down the sentence, said that the freedom of speech cannot be curtailed. The court had on 14th of August held Bhushan guilty of criminal contempt of court for his tweets criticizing Chief Justice of India S.A. Bobde and the Supreme Court. It had said that the allegations levelled in the tweets against the court and the CJI were malicious in nature and have the tendency to scandalize the court, and they cannot be said to be a fair criticism of the functioning of the judiciary made in public interest. The bench on 20th of August had asked Bhushan to reconsider his defiant statement and to tender an unconditional apology for the contemptuous tweet till 24th of August. Bhushan, however, refused to apologize to the Supreme Court, saying what he expressed represented his bona fide belief, which he continued to hold.
I propose to submit myself to this order and will respectfully pay the fine as I would have submitted to any other lawful punishment. My tweets were not intended in any way to disrespect the Supreme Court or the judiciary as a whole.
Onam, the annual harvest festival of Kerala, is being celebrated today with adherence to COVID-19 guidelines.
Extending wishes to the people, President Ramnath Kovind said the festival of Onam is a symbol of our rich cultural heritage and an expression of our gratitude to nature. He urged people to take care of those from the weaker sections and follow guidelines to contain COVID-19. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said the festival is celebrated to honor the memory of legendary King Mahabali, the compassionate ruler of Kerala. He urged the people to remember the values of honesty, integrity, compassion, selflessness, and sacrifice that King Mahabali espoused. In a Twitter message, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called Onam a unique festival that celebrates harmony. He said the Harvest Festival is also an occasion to express gratitude to our hard-working farmers. Onam is an annual 10-day harvest festival celebrated in Kerala and by people of the state all across the world. The festival marks the homecoming of King Mahabali for 10 days to his kingdom. This year, the celebrations have been low-key due to the pandemic as people celebrated the festival largely indoors.
Well, that's it in this bulletin. Stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV for more national and international top stories. Good night.
Thank you.